Air Force planes deliver last-chance equipment for Titanic sub-rescue mission just as oxygen is about to run out.
Rescuers have insisted we always have hope for the 5 passengers, including 3 Britons, on the missing 21-feet submersible which vanished on Sunday. Response Coordinator Captain Jamie Frederick for 1st Coast Guard District said, "This is a search and rescue mission, 100%, apostrophe." But the Coast Guard admitted last night that extensive searches around the area 435 miles off Newfoundland had so far yielded negative results. Canadian aircraft picked up the sounds by sonar, some of which were said to be heard at regular 30-minute intervals, as recently as yesterday afternoon, close to where the Titan submersible disappeared. Rescuers searching for the missing Titanic explorers have been racing against the clock as they struggled to find the source of underwater banging noises detected yesterday. It is a bleak picture for those trapped inside this stranded vessel, but officials have continued to insist that the hunt is 100% still a search and rescue mission. But former Royal Navy officer Chris Perry said as midday approached, "I'm afraid time's up. I don't think there's any prospect of getting those people out alive now. But even if it is discovered, it will take many hours to save Titan, meaning that the oxygen can run out before they get to the surface." Rescue efforts to find them have continued overnight, and are becoming ever more desperate. Oceanographer and water search expert Dr. David Gallo said today, "It's going to be almost impossible. We need a miracle, but miracles do happen." The Coast Guard has admitted it does not know if it is the 5 men hammering on the side of their sub or simply the sound of the sea, including perhaps debris falling from the Titanic itself at 12,500 feet below the surface. An objective assessment of where things are at the moment, "It doesn't look good," Larder said, adding that it was important to stay optimistic. "It's kind of unimaginable if people are alive, trapped in a submersible with oxygen supplies running down." Larder said it was a desperate situation. The missing submersible is also reportedly bolted from the outside, which could take up more time, he added. In a normal situation, it would take 2 hours for a RAV like the Victor 6000 to get down to the necessary depth, and another 2 hours to float back up, Griggs said. And even if search teams do find the submersible, a rescue operation could take up precious time. But the experts warned that the rescuers would need to know fairly precisely where to look for Titan, which currently does not seem to be the case. Finding the submersible could potentially take weeks of intense survey, Larder warned. The Victor 6000 also has strong lights, allowing it to see through some of the murk at such depths. Alistair Grieg, a professor of marine engineering at University College London, said the robot's 2 manipulator arms could potentially allow it to untangle the Titan, or attach a device that could float it to the surface. Rob Larter, a marine expert at the British Antarctic Survey, told a press conference on Thursday that he thought the Victor 6000 was the main hope for an underwater rescue. A Royal Navy submariner, as well as equipment from a British company, has been sent to assist in the search for Titan. Number 10 said Lieutenant Commander Richard Canthrion had been embedded to assist the search and rescue effort. Shipping experts Marine Traffic have shared an animation of the ships rushing to the search zone. Titan's mothership Polar Prince had been searching the area since Sunday and is zigzagging the site in the hope that it will appear on the surface or get back in contact after communications cut out more than 72 hours ago. The analysis is really helpful to our overall search and rescue efforts, but we are not waiting on it. We've moved the remote-operated vehicles that we've had on site to those areas where noise was detected. What's important to me, and what's important as the unified command, is that we've continued search in the areas where noise was detected with the RAVs that we have from the time of that detection, so we're not waiting for this analysis to take action. The initial reports is that there's a lot of the sounds that were generated were from background ocean noise, but they continue to look for all available information there. We've taken that information and shared it with top leading experts from the US Navy and the Canadian Navy, and they're working on the analysis of that information. They're continuing to work on the analysis of that information, he said. Speaking today to Sky News, Rear Admiral John Mauger confirmed the initial reports suggesting the noise heard by sonar buoys was background ocean noise. Above the wreck is a flotilla of at least 10 ships, 2 robot subs and several aircraft scanning the Atlantic for any sign of Titan as sonar continues to hear a banging noise from the depths. They also brought a hyperbaric chamber, which can be used for decompressing divers after they return to the surface. A Canadian Navy ship carrying medics specializing in treating health issues relating to deep-sea diving arrived on the scene this morning on the HMCS Glace, according to officials. Titan lost communication on Sunday while about 435 miles south of St. John's, Newfoundland, during a voyage to the Titanic off the coast of Canada. The last ping of its homing device was heard on Sunday afternoon, directly above the world's most famous wreck. I'm certain that Stockton and the rest of the crew realized days ago that the best thing they can do to ensure the rescue is to extend the limits of those supplies by relaxing as much as possible. I firmly believe that the time window available for the rescue is longer than what most people think. I continue to hold out hope for my friend and the rest of the crew. Guillermo Sonlin founded OceanGate with Rush in 2009 and earlier today said he believes that the window for finding them could go beyond the U.S. Coast Guard's prediction. He said, "Today will be a critical day in this search and rescue mission, as the sub's life support supplies are starting to run low." Experts believe that the 96-hour oxygen supply number is an imprecise estimate and could be extended if those on board have taken measures to conserve breathable air including lying still and even sleeping. She told the Telegraph, "It's very frightening. It took so long for them to get going to rescue them, it's far too long. I would have thought 3 hours would be the bare minimum." Despite fears their oxygen supplies have run out, there is still hope in the most desperate of situations. Kathleen Kesnett, a cousin of UK businessman Hamish Harding, 58, who was on the sub, said the 8-hour delay before contacting the authorities was far too long. The Titan craft, run by OceanGate Explorations, submerged on Sunday at 1 p.m. UK time, 8 a.m. EST and 10 p.m. in Sydney, around 400 miles southeast of St. John's, Newfoundland. At 2:45 p.m. it lost contact with its mothership, the Polar Prince. But it wasn't reported missing to the U.S. Coast Guard until 10:40 p.m. Those stuck on board the sub include British billionaire Hamish Harding, OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, French Navy veteran P.H. Narjolit and Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Sulman, who is just 19 and a student at Strathclyde University. Since Sunday night, there has been a frantic, international effort to find it and save the men on board. The sub was due to return to the Polar Prince at 3 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. BST, Sunday. The Titan submerged at 8 a.m., 1 p.m. BST, and lost communications at 9:45 am, 2:45 p.m., but was not reported as missing to the U.S. Coast Guard until 5:40 p.m., 10:40 p.m. The family of British billionaire, Hamish Harding, have spoken of their fury that it took OceanGate's mothership, the Polar Prince, 8 hours to report the sub missing on Sunday. The submersible's oxygen theoretically should have run out at 8 a.m. EST, 1 p.m. BST, Thursday, according to the 96 hours limit listed on OceanGate's specs of the ship. Earlier this morning, Rear Admiral John Mauger, who is coordinating the effort from Boston, said during an appearance on NBC's Today Show, "People's will to live has to be accounted for. If the debris does not belong to the Titan, the Coast Guard has vowed to continue its search." Experts have for days warned of the possibility that the Titan had sprung a leak and imploded under the pressure, which is 400 times that experienced at sea level. They would be dead before they knew anything had even happened. L. David Marquet, a retired Navy nuclear submarine commander, said earlier this week. The families of the 5 men on board the sub are yet to publicly react to news of the debris discovery. A glimmer of hope came yesterday when the Coast Guard confirmed consistent banging noises had been detected by P-3 aircraft, but the search teams were unable to find the source of the sound, or confirm that they were the SOS signals the world had hoped for. The world has been praying for a miracle after rescuers estimated the vital oxygen supply would end at 7:08 MEST, 12:08 PM UK time, 9:09 PM Sydney, on Thursday. Officials said the field had been found by Odysseus 6K, a remote-operated vehicle, ROV, deployed by the Canadian vessel, the Horizon Arctic, that can drive 20,000 feet underwater. It brings a devastating development to the search, which had been emphatically categorized as rescue effort, and not a recovery mission, by U.S. officials. A press conference had been scheduled for 3 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. BST, where the Coast Guard said it would discuss the findings. The only saving grace is that it would have been immediate, literally in milliseconds, and the men would have no idea what was happening, David Burns, a friend of two of the men on board, said during an appearance on Sky News in the UK this evening. He added, "My worst fears have now been realized. A debris field implies there's a breakup of the submersible, and at that depth, because we know that they lost communications at around 3,300 meters. So that really indicates what is the worst case scenario, which is a catastrophic failure, an implosion. It would mean the sub suffered a crack and imploded under the underwater pressure, instantly killing all 5 men on board." The U.S. Coast Guard announced on Twitter that the debris field had been found on Thursday. They are yet to confirm what exactly was discovered, but Richard Garriott, president of the Explorers Club, tells DailyMail.com his understanding from the teams involved in the search is that key components of the sub were among the items. The landing frame and rear cover of the missing Titan submersible have been discovered on the ocean floor, according to experts involved in the search, who say it points to the vessel suffering a catastrophic implosion that will have claimed all 5 of the lives on board.